Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Vandy, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. You may have noticed that there was a little break in our posting schedule, but y'all know what time it is. It's braid season. So me and the girls have been at the shop just busting our butts, getting everybody braided up for all of their summer fun and vacations. But that doesn't mean I haven't been working on something very special for you guys. This year we have been focusing on becoming a better braider. In our first 100 episodes of Braid School, we focused more on basic techniques. Now we're going to put all of those skills to the test, and we're going to apply them so that we can become more efficient and we can make more money. So if you're a braider who is still struggling doing one head a day and competing with today's prices, and you need more tools to help you become more efficient so you can turn over more clients and make more money, then this is the series for you. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to walk you guys step by step my process. And one of the things that saves you the most time is knowing your parting maps. But this process is a process that is proven and I know works, because we have braiders who have come who started at one head a day and now they're up to 3 and sometimes even 4 a day. So to kick things off, we're going to start with our basic medium parting maps. Today we're going to do square parting. Now I am a part as you go braider, but this will still work for those of you who are pre-parters as well. After today we're going to go over triangle parts, C parts. Once we've mastered parting, we're going to do one full tutorial following me from beginning to end so you can see all the steps and efficiencies I take to complete medium knotless braids, waist length in under 4 hours. So if you want to become a better braider, grab your notes and let's get started. Starting with the back behind the head below the ear, we're going to do 2 rows. The first row you're going to have 4 boxes for braids. The size you make these boxes are going to be very important because it's going to set the tone for the rest of the head. Starting with the second row, we're going to start with the middle box in between the 4 below it. This box is important because it's going to help you set the symmetry for the rest of the head. Now moving to the right side of the head, to get a straight line, we're going to rest our comb right on the top of the ear and make sure that it lays horizontally, and we're going to connect the tip of the comb to the other box in the middle. Now repeat the same thing on the other side. What you should have is an even box between the middle and the top of the ear, and you're just going to split those down the middle, creating 4 boxes and 5 boxes total for that row. You should have something that looks like this. Now that the back is done, we're going to walk around to the front of the client and sketch out their middle part. You're going to connect the middle part in the front to the middle part in the back. This line should center up with the middle box we created on the second row. This step is very important because it's going to help you maintain symmetry throughout the head as you move along. Once you feel comfortable and confident that you have identified the middle part, go ahead and clip one portion out of the way so we can work on the left side. The top of the head is going to have 5 rows. We're going to focus on the first 3 rows, and the top 2 I've already sketched out by aligning my comb with the top of her eyebrow. If your client has a receding hairline, it's easy to locate this spot. If they don't, then lining up with the middle of the top of the eyebrow is typically helpful. If you're not able to eyeball the length or the size of the rows here, you can use the teeth of the comb as a guide. You can also pre-part these 3 rows to make sure that they are even before you begin parting. For the first row above the ear, we're going to do 5 boxes. And we want to make sure that the first 2 boxes, that second box right there, rests right behind the ear. I usually sketch out this row and I sometimes have to go back and correct the boxes, but as long as you have something sketched out, it's easy to adjust as you move along. Sometimes it won't be 5 boxes on this row. If the client has a smaller head, it may look better to have 4, but standard is definitely 5. We want to make sure that the braids look full behind the ear. Also know that it doesn't have to be perfect on the first try. A lot of times I will clean up my boxes as I move along. Also, when following this map, just know that boxes are not going to be the exact same size on every person. Some heads are bigger, some heads are smaller. You're just following the map so that you have the same outcome for each client. So for the second row, we're going to start with stair stepping. So we're going to cut that box that we need to create there and align it with that bottom braid. And then we're going to continue sketching from there. So you should have sketched out half of a box, which is going to be your middle box for that row. And I'm going to have 5 braids for this second row as well. Some people like to twist or braid down their sketched out parts, but I think this takes more time, so I just clip them out of the way. When you're done with the second row above the ear, you should have something that looks like this. Now time to move on to the third row. Before I begin sketching out these boxes for this row, I want to make sure this line is nice and clean and horizontal. And sometimes you may have to stand away from your client to see it. A lot of times when you are up close to the client, your eyes will deceive you and the boxes will look a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger. And that's why I have a mirror behind my chair, because I look in the mirror far away to see if the lines are actually straight. When I used to work at home and didn't have a mirror behind me, I just would stand a couple of feet back and make sure I eyeballed it correctly. And again, we're going to stair step this one by starting our line by aligning it with the braid below it. Now, if you're following the pattern from the line below this one, technically we should have 5 more braids on this row. However, as we're moving closer to her hairline, we're running out of hair to actually work with. So where I would normally have put 2 boxes here, we're gonna have to swoop it and do 1 instead. Because while I might have been able to catch enough hair to put a braid there, we don't want to add more tension to her hairline, especially if she's trying to grow it back. And you'll notice that I switched over to my edge brush. I like to use the small bristles, especially in tight spaces like this, to evenly distribute the product. And this is what the third row should look like. So now that we are finished with the left side top 3 rows, all we're going to do is move over to the other side and match it up. The first row above the ear should have 5 boxes as well, because this was symmetrical. The second row is actually going to have 6 because it's going to have a middle box. And the third row you should have 7 more braids, but in our case we had 6 because she had that hairline shortage. Either way, there should be a middle part on that third row. Now the top can go one of 2 ways. What you can do is take one section and split it right down the middle, going straight backwards, and you can make your boxes from there. But in this case, we're going to actually curve the line around. This part of the head can be rather tricky, especially if you're short like me. So I would advise getting a stepping stool so you can have a bird's eye view of what you're looking at. Now, when you choose to curve the line, this box in particular is the most important because it's the only box on this side and the other side that is going to be a little bit shorter at the top of the box because you're accommodating the curve. Also, for some reason, this area, because it is eye level, can be deceiving and the boxes will look smaller to you at the naked eye, but they're actually the same size. So as long as you continue following the pattern and making sure that those lines are in between the 2 braids below, you shouldn't have any issue with them being off. It's also very important that this row in particular has a middle box because of the way it flows on the head. That's why it's important you stick to the pattern, because that second row we created below the ear had a middle box. And if you followed the pattern, you should always have a middle box on this row when you get to the top. We finally made it to the top 2 rows. All that's left to do is to clean up that middle part. Her head shape in this case caused for 4 on each side. Sometimes you will have more boxes if it looks better. For example, you might have 5 on each side if the client's head is elongated. And sometimes you'll have 3 at the top because sometimes the head will come to a point at the top, and that's what makes sense. And there you have it, the completed look. This only took me 4 4 hours. These are waist length medium knotless braids, and I did them all by myself. This parting map is our shop service standard. If you are a beginner, following this map consistently will help you gain speed, confidence, and efficiency. Next up, I'm going to do an in-depth tutorial on medium triangles, and it's going to be part of the larger series that I have coming out to help you become a better braider, more efficient, more consistent, and on track to making 6 figures all by yourself. Please make sure you remember to like and subscribe on your way out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.